Greetings, nerds. This is SNN Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont. With me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Doing very well. Happy Sunday evening and happy weekend as it comes to a close.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize why we stopped recording on Sundays, and it's just because, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I was
Sunday night recordings.
Yeah, I know. As all that was transpiring, I was like, maybe we should have said Sunday afternoon because I think whenever we do the off cycle recordings, but yeah, it's great but anytime that we can get together to talk, and especially given that we have a boatload of content to get through tonight, it's always a great time.
Yeah, definitely. To start things off, we have one bit of MCU news. Tom Holland has stated that No Way Home is the end of an MCU trilogy, which is a bit shocking to most of us, considering all of the spoilers that came out about Venom 2, with a end credit scene of showing how Venom is now in the MCU universe. Spoiler. I'm sorry. I mean, I hope people weren't actually planning to see that movie.
If at this point that spoiler and the end credit has been everywhere, so
right.
Hopefully folks have probably already have we're assuming people have heard about it, but if you haven't, we apologize now. But Tom did it again. He couldn't make it. I was wondering if he would actually be able to make it to the release date without like stepping in it somehow. And he didn't.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the quote, I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure said exactly what he says. And Tom Holland says, quote, we were all treating a No Way Home as the end of a franchise, let's say, end quote. And so you can read that any number of ways. You could just say, like, look, this was a self-contained story with these 3 films, and yes, we are finishing it. Or you can also look at it like, well, his contract is coming to an end, and maybe this is his way of like saying goodbye. If for whatever reason he doesn't get another contract with either Disney or Sony, then they can he can do his swan song. Or like you said, I mean, given that the end credit from Venom, which is a Sony property, does come to pass, then he can just be Spider-Man over in the Sony side, and we just won't see him in the MCU anymore until they work out another arrangement.
Yeah, I don't think that this is his swan song, because if I remember correctly, there's still one untitled Marvel film that he'll appear in. It might not be a Spider-Man based movie, and that may be his point. Like, this is the end of their trilogy, but I think like he's gonna get the Tony Stark treatment and have swan song there. Or it's more of a cryptic way to say this is the end of like this first trilogy. And there might be plans for a second one depending on how it does and everything. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens in December, along with a bunch of other stuff. So the real reason why we're recording on Sunday night is because over this weekend, the second DC FanDome event occurred. Shout out to Tiffany Smith, who appeared to me to be the main host of the whole event, and she's a Schmoes No alum, so I thought that was pretty cool that she got that opportunity, and she did a pretty good job. She was one of the few hosts that when they said a cheesy line, I would actually believe.
Yeah.
Most of them, you could just tell it was all acting.
Yeah, you could tell. I'll tell you
really bad.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I thought was in addition to Tiffany, who I also thought was the real standout, was Candace Patton.
Oh, yeah, Candace was there. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say she's gotten a chance to report more news in 3.5 hours than she has in 7 years on The Flash.
Yeah, that was an awkward intro because I'm sitting here like, why are they leading with that? I get it. I don't know. Grant did not want to be there. Do not he just seemed so over it. Like, I don't know. There's something with that man. Like, I don't know. But yeah, the FanDome event part 2 or day 2 or whatever we want to call it. I'm not a big fan of it. I thought it was kind of lame.
Yeah, it compared to the first one, it definitely did not live up to the first event, because it really just, I mean, there were things that happened, but I mean, obviously I think it was like 3 hours or so of just, let's just keep you there until we get to the main event, which everybody was there for the Batman. But there were, to be fair, there were some notable things that did happen during the event. I mean, we did get some casting news and also some renewals for some series, which we'll get into here. But yeah, I think whatever it first started, because I did send you a text. I was like, yeah, production values and stuff are, still top notch and stuff. And it wasn't as bad as like Comic-Con from home. I mean, I think
I'm not thinking that it was as bad, but to me, both events had the same structure where in both of them we were waiting until the Batman trailer dropped at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Both times. However, and maybe it was because it was new and we didn't know what to expect, and so expectations were low, but there was something a bit more engaging about the last time around.
Yeah.
This time, maybe it had to do with, like, they didn't give everyone green screens. And it was clear everyone was calling in, or most of them were calling in. And I mean, when Brennan from Titans, like, he literally was in a car.
Yeah. But that was one of those like unscripted moments that actually worked. I thought it was kind of cute with this kid who, was sitting in the back seat, doing things that any parent who's had to take a conference call could definitely sympathize for work. That definitely, that was a nice little human moment, and those were the nice touches that, and I agree with you that I think what made it work better was one, things had time to breathe, because I felt like this was a lot like the Netflix To Dumb event, where they just like compressed a bunch of content into a very tight space, whereas the original FanDome part 1 and then part 2, because I know they spread it out last year over 2 weekends, and both events, the first weekend definitely was like, I felt much, like you said, it was fresher, newer. I think the panels were more engaging. And then this year's felt a lot like the second weekend event for DC FanDome, where it was more compressed, and like you said, not as many green screens and not as much breaking news.
Yeah. They did a similar thing last year where they kicked off things with Wonder Woman, because they were starting off that promotion, and this year they kicked it off with Black Adam. We finally got footage of the movie, albeit he didn't say a single line.
He didn't need to.
He just disintegrated someone on screen.
Yeah. But I think he somehow heard about you not believing this film, because he just
no. I think the scene was funny though, because it wasn't The Rock's first appearance like in movies, part of the Mummy franchise, and that was a very Mummy opening where we've encountered this cave and this artifact and this myth, and it's come to life. Yeah.
It was. I thought, I did think about that as well. That is very funny that how we had the sort of bookends, but this is definitely a passion project of his, and he freely acknowledged, and I'm glad he acknowledged that it has taken a long time for it to come to reality. But we not only do we have footage, but we also have a release date, which is July 29 next year. So
July 29. We did get a flash teaser as well, basically just confirming a lot of things we already knew. And just teasing, just a bit of teasing. I still don't know what to make of Ezra Miller. It's just
that was the one consistent thing from last year's FanDome to this year's FanDome, which is like, dude, he's like super quirky. I know he was trying to like make a joke with the lack of footage and stuff, and to sort of set up the tease, but it just fell flat.
Yeah, I think he worked better last year than he did this year. This year it felt more gimmicky. Yeah. A bit more phony, and I just was very distracted by the clothing choices.
Yeah.
By the clothing choices.
Yeah, but the teaser. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but the teaser itself, I mean, it did confirm a lot of things. I mean, it did confirm the Flashpoint. It did tease and confirm that I guess we'll get two versions of Ezra, and I guess there's definitely some theory spiraling already that one of those alternate Flashes is actually Thawne, because we given that this is a version of Flashpoint that they're doing, Thawne will obviously plays a very heavy influence in that. So folks are already wondering if the scruffy Ezra is like is actually Thawne. And then we did get a little glimpse of Supergirl as well in that footage. But
another person in that scene.
What's that?
There was Ezra, there was Supergirl, and there was someone else.
That was the alternate Flash. That was another Flash. Yeah, that was the Scruffy. That's when I say there's main Barry, then there was Scruffy Barry, and then there was Kara.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're speaking English. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The footage, I will be very, very honest. And maybe it's because we've spent since 2014 watching Barry Allen on screen. We've had so many Batman movies. We've been in the Zack Snyder universe for the better part of a decade. The footage, nothing caught me of, this is fresh and this is new. It felt very much like, it's about what I could expect from a Marvel or from a DC movie. I don't know. There was just something about the tone, the aesthetic. It just and I was looking for something a bit different to spike my interest, because what DC has to realize that as they're building out these TV series and these characters are becoming more and more known to audiences, when you branch out and tell their stories, you really have to kind of set them apart from one another, or else it just becomes a lot of the same. And so for general moviegoers, I think that the when things are presented differently, that's what gets them in the seats, as opposed to I think that's a very good point. And that was borne out by the Joker. Yeah, the Joker.
Yeah,
I forgot that movie came out.
but you're right. I mean, that the reason why I think it was a different aesthetic from what we had seen in the Snyderverse, and it was. I mean, obviously, it was. Clearly, everybody loves the Joker, and people are. Joaquin Phoenix is also. You have that star billing, but at its core, it was different. It was a totally different aesthetic from how the Snyderverse had been up to that point. So it definitely got people engaged in the film, and it clearly was a box office success and critical success as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess but the other thing with the Flash, I guess, even though they were joking yesterday, we don't have hardly any footage, but they did finally wrap today. So so Andy Machete did post on his Instagram that happened. So yeah, we'll move into post production, and I guess we'll let the spoilers continue.
Definitely. In other Flash news, is it season 7 or season 8 of the Flash?
Season 8.
Season 8. So in season 8, we are getting the gold boots, and that's about it.
Yeah. So they're definitely getting the gold boots, more comic accurate. They also did some other tweaks to the center crest as well, and added some more wings to the gloves and other parts of the suit. If you look at it at the teaser art that they dropped for FanDome, because I know I got spoiled, I guess, about a week ago with the usual pop fans who like hang around the set in Vancouver posted pictures of the costume, and then I think Entertainment Weekly, was it in there? No, I can't remember if it was in there. They had a story about the Flash last week too.
It's people. It was we already knew. We already knew why they chose to lead with that. I don't know, but
yeah, I thought that was a weird, odd choice. I mean, obviously they did the official release, but usually I was surprised they didn't have a sizzle reel for the season, given that they're deep into filming.
Yeah. I'm surprised and not surprised. I don't know. It's DC.
Yeah. But like you said, I mean, yeah, but Grant definitely was not. I mean, he was a little bit more animated when he was talking about the costume, but the rest of the time he was kind of like, okay, I'm done. He may be like Steven and Melissa. It's like my time is done.
Yeah, definitely. So this is probably one of the parts that I fast forward through. So Superman has a new motto.
Yeah. So Superman does have a new motto, and instead of truth, justice, and the American way, it was tweaked it to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. So this is not of course, obviously a lot of people clearly lost their minds like they did last week when John Kent was revealed to be bisexual, but this is not the first time that Superman has had his motto tweaked. It is historically it's evolved over time. I mean, the truth, justice, and American way wasn't even one that was done by the original creators. It was actually done during the Second World War, just as a war effort kind of deal. And even recently, it has gone through some various tweaks. So this is one of those things that kind of got buried. That I think because of all the attention on the Batman, people were just like, "Oh yeah, that's nice." But there were a lot of comments out there yesterday about it as well. So I'm sure it'll get probably picked up as we get some distance from the event and it shows up in some live action thing or when Action Comics I think drops.
Yeah, definitely a new tomorrow or a better tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah, it does kind of. Yeah, and I think it was Jim Lee who had made the announcement, and I think whenever he was talking about it was really trying to reflect. We are, new world, more inclusive world, and just want to, Superman's a universally beloved character. And I think they were just trying to reflect that in his new mantra.
No, it makes sense why they're doing that. But
Yeah. Speaking of Superman, just one little funny thing that I just have to drop in here before we move to the next thing related to Superman. It was like Cam Newton showed up in DC FanDome. The football player, he used to be quarterback of the Panthers and New England Patriots and stuff. And I was like, why is, because I remember they had, Serena Williams in the first one to announce her clothing line. Yep. And so Cam has, I guess he's known for his fashion sense as much as his football. And so I guess he is, they unveiled a special hat line because he always used to do the Superman reveal, pull out his chest when he scored touchdowns and stuff. So I thought that was just a really funny thing. I was kind of like, huh, yeah, that's about 2-3 years too late, DC.
Yeah, they had a few moments where they were introducing athletes.
Yeah,
which I thought was odd. Okay, so the other, or a few more things. We got a lot to talk about. Blue Beetle and Batgirl, they both had like 10-minute segments to reveal concept arts, talk to the stars, talk to the directors and screenwriters of the movies. The Blue Beetle panel, I'm glad they had it included. I like the fact that, and we already knew this, but there's so much going on these days, especially in terms of geek entertainment news, that just a reminder that the star of the movie, the writer, and the director are all Latin American. So I thought that was very, very cool and very good to see. They appear to be very passionate and excited about the project. And looking forward to seeing it on HBO Max.
Yes, me too. Yeah, that's definitely, again, I think that was one of the great things that came out of yesterday that was noteworthy, and unfortunately may have gotten overshadowed with some of the other things with, Batman basically. But
I mean, in all honesty, it's hard to compete when you don't have footage.
Yeah, it is.
Because that is at the end of the day what people want. They want to see something and not necessarily just talk about, and concept art to some is very cool. It's not my cup of tea, but you want something else that you can have a viral moment for. So whenever they are able to release footage or set photos, that's really when the excitement and anticipation will start to build. And
fair point.
And I think you'll see that.
That's good. That's a good point. And I know Batgirl had the same issue as well. They are just really getting started. Leslie Grace is, trained. She talked about how she's training, and also that she is going to dye her hair to be red like Barbara Gordon's. But again, I think that's another project that when it happens, we'll, like you said, once we start seeing some things from the set and some teaser sizzle reels and whatnot from the as it gets closer to release, then the buzz will definitely be there.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be a better Barbara Gordon than the current one we have on Titans.
Yeah. I'm a week behind on Titans. I haven't watched this past Thursday's episode, but I've liked Samantha as Barbara. I mean, I think where things are holding her back is the material that she's given, and not necessarily the actress. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that is what I meant. And I am caught up on Titans, and I honestly don't really understand what's going on. I've come to the conclusion that the downfall of the season was actually the villain. I really don't like the villain. The villain is so stereotypical twirl mustache villain that it's annoying. And I've lost interest so many times, and then they still haven't really explained this whole what's her face coming back to Donna Torre coming back to life, and why she went to save Batman. Come on, guys. I get it. You're planting the seeds, but still, this is it's been a while. So I'm just kind of waiting for the season to end, and then we're gonna get Titans season 4. And I really don't understand what they're doing with Starfire. I also don't understand that, but hey.
Yeah. It was, and it's beginning to become a broken record with that show, but And I guess why it's so disappointing is because this year started off so strong compared to the other prior seasons. I mean, I think we've started. I won't spend much time on it. Chronicling what we've discussed about the prior two seasons, but I mean, it just seemed to midway. It just kind of lost I think you even said it, like all the writers. The writers' room was broken up due to COVID. They just all did it via Zoom, and it just lost its cohesion.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But they did get the news about season 4.
It got season 4 is back. As well as we also got confirmation that Doom Patrol has also been renewed for a 4th season. And even though I'm not a fan of season 3, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep during the last episode. I'm pretty sure that happened because I honestly don't remember most of the episode.
So I did finally get a chance to watch 1917 today, and it's so there are compelling parts to it, but I don't know. It's like I'd rather they just not have had the B stories with Cliff and Vic, and they just really, I felt like the episode was just overstuffed, because I really the whole Sisterhood of Dada thing and Rita and the concept of losing, one, I think what's really hurting this season just as a whole is time travel, because it's very hard to do a time travel story well, and we've seen it throughout the genre, and the way I think that I mean, I like that it finally made some sense tonight whenever I was watching the episode and seeing like how both Rita and I guess also Laura DeMille also lost their memories, because there is that arc of pain and torture and everything that is washed away as they travel through time, and we've seen that concept on Quantum Leap, whereas Sam gets Swiss cheese because of just not through trauma, but just that happens as far as a way to explain why our hero is like can't remember things about themselves. But I just felt so the whole Sisterhood of Dada thing is sort of just fleshing out what they are and how they fit in the bureau. Make that those were good. Those were the compelling, interesting parts. And of course, what was going on with Kay and Jane and the underground, I thought were good pieces. But the Cliff stuff this week just didn't work for me. And it was just funny because Cliff's one of my favorite characters, but I was just kind of like, okay. And Larry, God bless Larry. I think those 3 stories should have, and I think it's part of the problem of being a 10-episode season. They just have to compress so much stuff into the episode that it gets overstuffed, and things aren't allowed to.
That's an excuse because they've had 2 stellar seasons.
Yeah, and I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I think that they know what they're supposed to do, and for some reason, I don't know if it's because of the hiatus or if it's because of other content I'm currently watching and engaged with. There's something about the story points in this season that I just could care less about.
Yeah, it's not resonating with me the same as the first 2 seasons. I still like it. Don't get me wrong, but this season definitely is like, as I said, not resonating, and hopefully it'll pick back up towards the end. And I know we did it with both Titans and Doom Patrol. They both did give sizzle tease reels for the rest of the season to tease, I guess, the Titans finale, which I believe is this week, as far as the one that got away, and then we also got some footage for the upcoming Doom Patrol episodes. So hopefully hopefully Titans will be able to stick the landing on the finale, and hopefully Doom Patrol will pick up.
Yeah, yeah. To now switch to a show that is resonating and also released a preview that I kind of wish that they didn't. Stargirl had their panel, and this past week, you're caught up on Stargirl, right?
I am, yeah. And this week was really good. I really enjoyed this week with Jenna coming back, and also how I've really enjoyed how they're using Starman as far as and Pat's relationship, really through the flashbacks and just really deepening the understandings for what really did happen with the JSA and as a good focal counterpoint to the current JSA and how Pat didn't learn from that mistake and now the kids are suffering from it as well.
Yeah. I don't know if the Starman is working. If I'm engaged with that, with the history of the JSA, as much as I do like, I just the villain is so good.
Yeah,
the villain is so good that these last few episodes have been just stellar. This one was all right, but what really piqued my interest was like that ending moment and that realization. Okay. Cindy's back.
Yeah.
Because Cindy and Courtney, I like when she's interacting with Cindy.
Yeah.
And so I'm very intrigued by this week's episode, all being in the shadowverse with Courtney encountering both Sydney and Dr. Midnight and what's going to happen. And it's I'm glad that like Courtney, everybody knows I have my issues with Courtney. But I feel like she's getting a sense of reality. And that in the footage that they did share, Cindy has one line, it's like, to you, everything is so black and white. Which is ironic because the Shadowverse is all in gray. So I'm like, okay. So very excited for that. Looking forward to talking about it. We had a teaser for Naomi.
We did. Yeah, the show's coming early 2022, and I really, it set up a very interesting thing because with tying it back into the larger DC universe with Superman. With they were into school, showing that she's a high school student. We have a lead of color, and Ava DuVernay is also behind this project, which is also she's had to deal with DC, and this is one of I think a couple projects that she's going to be doing with them, and I like it sort of gave us an introduction to our heroine, and with Superman flying over, I'm like, okay, I'm hoping it's Tyler. I'm hoping it's Tyler so we can get a crossover between this show and Superman and Lois.
Yeah, I'm hoping it is too. The teaser was good, but it didn't feel like a teaser because I still don't really understand what this show is about.
Right.
And so it kind of I'm very curious to understand why they chose that particular scene. I get the whole potential crossover. But then you're just going to piss a lot of people off if it's not Tyler.
Yeah.
Kind of setting it up. But yeah. So we did get that, and we'll be seeing that show next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah. And I think the other thing, like you said, I think it definitely was one of those things where they didn't want to drop. It seemed like they didn't want to drop too much info just to get that air of mystery, and it was. So is this related to her powers? This calls her to black out like this? Is this her getting it? So yeah, so it definitely opened up a lot of questions that for potential viewers to be like, let me check this out and see what's going on with this girl.
Yeah, definitely. We got both a very long panel and a lot of footage of Peacemaker.
Yep. Yep. So what do you think about Peacemaker?
Like, he was the best part, or one of the best parts of Suicide Squad for me.
I was going to ask. So did the panels and this more extended trailer make you want to like watch the series, or is it kind of like I'll get to it when I get to it?
Well, I already wanted to watch this series.
Okay.
So to me, it didn't spike my interest. It didn't make me want to see it even more. It didn't make me even want to see it less.
Okay.
The panel was just a lot of butt kissing.
It was. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I kind of tuned out sort of during parts of that panel because it did get kind of repetitive after a while.
Yeah, it's like, you're great. No, you're great. No, you're great. And remember that funny time? It was so funny, even though we're not going into detail. Ha ha ha. Okay, next item.
Yeah, exactly. This is we're just padding for time.
Padding for time. We also got. We didn't get necessarily. Well, I guess we kind of got teasers. I don't really know what to call these of, but we got Shazam and Aquaman. They had panels. They had 10-minute things.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. They were okay. There was kind of like behind the scenes moments for both of those.
Yeah.
For both of those films, we already knew. We got teased earlier with the new costume for Aquaman, and the stuff with Shazam. So I know you and I split on Shazam, but this one, for whatever reason, I don't know. It did. And it was just behind the scene footage and stuff. So it just kind of, again, I just felt like it was just kind of padding for time and not talking about Zachary Levi's suit. I mean, which was a lot less padded this time compared to the first one. But yeah, it was just kind of there. It didn't really add much to the day, I thought.
Yeah, the Shazam actually kind of annoyed me because they talked about how this movie is going to be much more of a spectacle, and I cringed when I heard that because I'm like, great. So is this going to be Wonder Woman 2? Got it. Yeah. Okay, understood.
Yeah, exactly. We heard that one before. Even though speaking of Wonder Woman, we did get news that there is going to be a Wonder Woman 3. It was confirmed, I guess, even though Gal wasn't there, but I guess Patty and Linda Carter shared that news, which was kind of tucked in there with the bigger announcement, I thought, was at least related to Wonder Woman, which is DC kicking off the 80th anniversary celebration of the character as well. But again, like we were saying with Blue Beetle and Batgirl, it's without having any footage or anything. It's just basically, we're just talking about it and not much more.
Yeah, not much more.
Yeah.
This is probably something else that I fast forward through, the Milestone comics program.
Yeah. So Milestone is the line that was introduced back in the 90s and then went away for a little while, but has been reintroduced. And of course, Static Shock is as one of the characters from that line. And Michael B. Jordan is they're going to be producing a Static Shock film, and then they also are going to be doing, one of the things they announced this week was they're going to be doing a animated feature film with characters from the Milestone line. So that was one of the announcements that came from it. And then the other notable thing that came out of that panel was the Next Generation DC, which is an initiative for Milestone that will open up doors of opportunity for artists and creators of color to be able to get mentors, to basically broaden the pipeline for content creators to get into the industry as the current crop of creators grow older and and attrition and whatnot. This is to really foster the next generation of content creators and content creators of color. So I thought that was a real great announcement that they made, and then they're partnering with Ally, I think is a financial institution, and yeah, I did tweet it out, the link to the web page on our show account, so on Twitter. So go check it out, or share it with folks who you think may be interested. If you know some budding creators out there who are looking to get their content out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I as you were talking, I was like, no, I didn't fast forward through that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing a bit about that.
Yeah.
So we talked about the Flash panel and how we didn't really think that Grant didn't want to be there. But I was surprised when Batwoman had got their turn and Rachel and Javisha were out there. And they looked like they really wanted to be there.
Yeah, they did.
They looked like they were having fun. Also, how much taller is Rachel compared to Javisha? Were they wearing heels? Was that because there looked to be a significant height difference?
That's true. They do a great job when they film the series, not showing that height difference. Because I was like, oh, okay then.
but it was also cool to see them because this week Batwoman did return, and there was a lot of Ryan and Alice stuff, and I have to say, season 2 of Batwoman had its highs and its lows. It was not consistently good as the first season for me. And it definitely had a slow start. And then the ending kind of just like it was like slow start, peak, and then come back down. However, this premiere episode, I appreciate it. It was like right back into action. Very few exposition, very few reminders of what happened last season. Just recognizing the viewers who are returning probably already know, so you don't save us a lot of that time. And for whatever reason, Alice actually worked in this episode. And that was the big issue we had all of season 2, which where her storyline just was not sinking. It was distracting. It was annoying. And they had a lot of good stuff with Ryan and her evolution with the mantle and everything. But I was very surprised to see that in one episode, suddenly I'm like, okay, I get why these two are both nemesis, but they have to work together. I love the ending with Montoya. That was so clever and so good. I like that.
Great. Yeah, that you're right. Yeah, I had the same feeling that it was just freeing for I think everyone, quite honestly, from the creative team to the actors, everyone. And it showed that they did not have to deal with the big elephant in the room anymore with Kate Kane. Being gone, and so they were just free to be able, like you said, just to tell the story, and really, it was just and also thinking also getting back to the FanDome with Cameras, who plays Batwing, Luke Fox, Lucius's son, and talking about the evolution of Batwing, and I like the way that they were having that banter as far as how they came about with his nickname in the premiere this week. I mean the suit flaking out, but then oh gosh, I had written it down on my notes, but I don't have it with me whenever. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it now, but they took a little crack at him with the bat suit and his bat suit, and but it was very good. I thought it was a very strong opening to their third season. I think the tone with Mary was right as far as just how she fits into the team, and then and even Sophie, given that now that she is no longer with the Crows and sort of finding her place, how her relationship with Ryan definitely gave the viewers something to ponder as we move forward with those two.
Right.
Well, it could go either way at this point. If they wanted to put them as a couple, maybe, but at the same time,
they're gonna put them as a couple. Will, come on,
Yes.
Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not, but yeah, but they were leaning towards that way.
Oh, they're gonna put them as a couple.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Mary.
Yeah.
I just her character. I feel as though episodes are escalated when Mary works and is a part of the storyline or the arc of the episode in a very interesting way, because she's kind of the damsel in distress in this episode. But what's interesting about Mary right now is she's just as alone as Ryan is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, she's been abandoned by everyone. She knows, or they've been killed, or put in jail. And it's just like her, and now she has this like weird dynamic relationship with Alice that she's still working through, and that always, I love whenever they bring that dynamic to the front as well. And in this episode, she nearly killed someone. So yeah, very, very good. Very good way to start off the season, to set the tone for the season. And I'm happy it's back.
Me too.
Which leads us to the last bit of, or the last Bat news of the night. The big one, the Batman. We got a second trailer and a panel. Okay. The panel.
Okay.
Matt Reeves pissed me off.
Because
he would not let the actors talk. The whole time he was saying things and was like, yeah, what was it like to put on that suit? Because I remember like just seeing this and blah, 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 blah. And then Rob's like, yeah, it was like 2 minutes. And Matt Reeves had maybe 10. And he did the same thing with Zoe. And I'm just sitting here, and it just really annoyed me how it felt as though he would ask a question, answer the question, and then kind of segue to the person he asked the question to, as if he didn't already just say everything for them. So that really pissed me off.
Yeah, I didn't get that, but I do see it now that you bring it up. Speaking of the Bat Man panel, there were some nice little anecdotes that, like, for example, Rob talking about when he went through his audition and having to wear the Val Kilmer's latex suit, and so there were the good moments, and I did like how Zoe talked about what she hopes to bring to the character, but thinking back on it now, as you pointed it out, Matt did kind of he did kind of steer the conversation, and not so much like, for example, with the Batman Cape Crusader, because that was one of the lead-in Bat things that preceded the release of the second trailer. And thinking about that project, and it's going to be the next sort of prequel to Batman the Animated Series, and some of the things that they talked about, and Matt Reeves is a part of that as well, and so is J.J. Abrams. The things that Matt talked about in that panel, and the things they talked about with the Batman, definitely seems that these two projects are going to complement each other, even though they are maybe not even related, but they definitely are going to complement each other as far as just the storyline and where we find Bruce Wayne at this juncture in his career.
Yep. So the actual trailer.
Yeah.
I prefer the first trailer over this trailer. I like all of the added scenes with Catwoman. I felt like they kind of gave away some stuff that I would have not, had I not watched it, gone into the theater and been surprised by. So that pisses me off a little bit. But overall, cinematography looks really good. They clearly know what story they want to tell, and they're being consistent about messaging. I'm excited. Am I more excited? No. Am I like less excited? No, I'm just like, yeah, it was another trailer.
Yeah.
But
So
I prefer the way the first one was set up.
yeah, so I'm curious. So what elements and footage that was in the second trailer you wish that had not been there, that you would have
They
rather?
shouldn't have the first scene. The first scene of the trailer shouldn't have been in that. Like,
Oh,
because the whole first trailer, you're like, okay, so Riddler's going to be running around killing people and Batman's going to chase him down and all of that. And then we're just like, in this trailer, it's nope. Riddler's going to be put away for a large part of this movie. And yet he's going to be interacting with him very Dark Knight like.
mm-hmm.
To uncover what the overall plan was and objective of. And we got a lot more of Penguin.
Yeah.
And we got a bit more of Zoe. So I don't know. It's just that there were some assumptions that were made at the end of the first trailer that now have been undone based on the second trailer. And honestly, like, it's still leading a bit to Court of Owls from what I understand. And yeah, so.
Yeah. I would, yeah, I could see that. I mean, I think for me, I wowed by the trailer in the sense that the intensity that this film seems going to have, like you said, the cinematography, everything's going to be great. But the score was really, for me, is what pulled it all together and to really get that atmospheric and the intensity and the ferocity of Bruce. And actually, I think he's, I think what we're seeing in this, what I got out of this trailer, and I think what we'll probably see in the film. And Matt basically said it. I mean, we are in year 2, so he's still figuring out what this character is, and Bruce is. I mean, I think the predominant aspect of his character is the aggressive, angry Batman, and Bruce Wayne is just, basically. Bruce is just there. He's just kind of like, he's, that balance that we see in later versions of the character. We don't necessarily, I don't think we'll get that in this film, but and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I think, because we've had origin stories out the wazoo. We've had, various states of, we've seen mature Batman, and all, but we haven't, other than the year 1, we haven't seen him in its early stages. So I think, so I think this is the film that where we'll get that, and he's getting introduced to all the villains in Gotham, and even those people are also in their infancy as far as their criminal mischief.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't get that sense. I don't get the sense that they're pulling a Gotham where the villains are in their infancy. I feel as though this installment will show how Batman has walked into a larger game that has been going on for a very long time in the city. And it's tied to his family, and it's part of the reason probably why his family died. His parents died, but it's all connected. It's about corruption and money corrupts and all of that. Yeah. But I think that in comparison to last year, what this panel and this trailer did a better job of doing is, for some reason, I remember watching the first trailer and the line where he says, "I'm vengeance." I was just like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of out of nowhere. Okay. But this time around, it fit because of what they were talking about and what you were just talking about in terms of he's he is not about justice right now. Like, this isn't about being a hero. This is about taking out his pain and anger on others because of what happened to him and his family.
Yeah.
Which is then going to change probably when he realizes that his family were not as innocent as he thought. So
that's true. And to that point, I think about the Alfred, because we get an appearance from Alfred in this trailer, and I think he says something to that effect. As far as with the vengeance and the anger and is going to be his undoing. I'm paraphrasing what Alfred said in that clip, but I mean that's kind of to what you pointed out. I think that's something that we'll see that in this film, and I guess maybe by the end of it we'll start to see that maturing into the hero, like you said, as he is walking into the corruption. And I think some of the side projects that's going to be coming off of this thing, does get into that point about the deeper corruption in Gotham and stuff. So we'll get that in this film and I guess in some of the other projects as well.
Yep. On that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me at Will M. Polk, WILLMPOLK.
You can find me at SJ Belmont, SJBELMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at CNN Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and our website, www.cnnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.